The Pesky Report is sponsored by High and Happy Catering out of Springfield, Massachusetts. Their chef, Michael Best, can cook anything you want with or without being infused with cannabis. Check out some of what they make on their Instagram at High and Happy Catering or call them at 413-785-8999. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome to the Pesky Report, a podcast for Red Sox fans. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Belly Up Sports proudly brings to you the one and only highlight of the Red Sox 2022 season, the Sultan of Smack Talk, Brandon Brewer, the hand you've always needed, Ed Hand, and the Iowa Enigma, Hogdale, the Pesky Report! And if you're not down with that, we got two words for you. This team sucks.
That's three words.
We suck. How about that? We suck. I can't count.
Fucking stink. Oh my god. They really lost a series to the Baltimore Orioles. God, good job, kiddos. We did it.
We talked about it last week that they needed to come into this game or to this series and have a get right series. They needed to come in here, get the bats going. They usually rake at Camden Field or Camden Yards, and this is an absolute embarrassment that they lost this. Game 2 specifically with, a 1-1 game in extra innings, and they're going to bunt, and then you're going to throw the ball to Alex Verdugo in left field and let them walk it off on a bunt. That means that this team has reached a new low. I wore this shirt specifically. 2020 sounds terrible. For a reason, because this team is giving up some serious 2020 Red Sox vibes.
Throwback. The main difference between this team and that team is that 2020 team probably had the single worst pitching staff the Boston Red Sox have ever employed. That team genuinely just gave me pain watching it. On the offensive side, the vibes are similar because this offense is giving me pain. It's generally like having an STD that is just burning piss. That's the description for this offense. Burning piss.
I've never had that experience, Hogdale. Tell me more.
I can't either. I'm just I'm going off what I've heard.
I have read in books.
He looked at WebMD before coming on here today, so he is an expert on all things medical.
Dude, trust me.
You just typed in 2022 Red Sox and that's what came up. It was just burning piss.
Gonorrhea. Yep, that pretty much the same thing.
Dude, they stink. I love this team, but they stink.
Bring me back. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Bring me back JBJ 2020 because he had a good offensive year. That's why he got all that money from Milwaukee. It's just so weird because the pitching hasn't been terrible. I don't really maybe today the loss is a little bit more on the bullpen, but a lot of these series the offense just isn't real. It's putting so much pressure on this bullpen that everybody was saying was going to be this giant piece of shit to start the season. And they haven't, maybe we just set the bar too low for them, but I don't think they've been that bad. I mean, they were getting no hit by the Rays and they almost came back and won that. And then there was some bad defense. Yesterday's game, you got one run against Spencer Watkins, who, if I remember correctly, was out of baseball till a year ago and is 29. It's tough for me to even put that on Sawamura when he's starting the game with two men on. And he blew the throw to third base, but why did they even go into extra innings to begin with there when you're just stranding friggin' every runner that gets on base? Earlier today in the game, There was the rain delay and everything, and I didn't really see what happened at that point. But the beginning of it, they were just stranding. They kept getting multiple guys on against Jordan Lyles, who is by no means what we would refer to as an objectively good pitcher. They couldn't get any of them to cross the plate. So it's hard to. I pin most of this on the offense. I really do.
I pin almost all of it on the offense. Yeah, I think Hogdale and I had the same point. You mentioned a lot of the pitchers that have looked like aces against this Red Sox staff. I get not having a good performance against guys like Kevin Gausman of the Toronto Blue Jays. That dude is a legitimate bona fide stud. He can go out there and shove against anybody. But to have like these no-name pitchers go out there and be throwing no hitters or holding the Red Sox to one run or shut out or whatever, like that's absolutely terrible. This is a team that we all were told and we all bought in on that they were expected to rake this year. I think the 7, 8, and 9 collectively have a sub 200 batting average. That's not going to cut it if the bottom of your lineup, 2/3 of your offense or a third of your offense aren't even getting on base. That's not good. I live in Florida and Hogdale lives over in Iowa. So we need to defer to you, Ed. Is the sky absolutely falling in Massachusetts right now? Because I'm sure it's raining damnation all over Boston.
Oh man, I mean, it's a beautiful day out today, 65, perfect baseball weather. I mean, yes, the sky is falling here if sports radio and like Twitter is what you're going by. People are not happy
what we
about
all go
it.
by.
Yeah, it is sort of the metric for fan outrage. And there's a lot of it because, as you said, we definitely bought into the team being a good offensive team. It's interesting where some of it happened. They lost JD Martinez for I think 7 out of 10 games on this road trip or something like that. And, he had a good day today, hit a grand slam in garbage time. Would be cool if he could do that in a closer game. I think that if you look at their lineup and what was expected going into it, the guy that's really, really thrown things to the point that it has gotten to is Bobby Dahlbeck. Because I think that with the 8 and 9 spot, you kind of knew that their bats weren't going to be as good as the rest of the lineup, and they're not there for their offense. Jackie Bradley, I think people kind of, they knew, like, he's here to play good defense. He's here to be a good veteran presence. Christian Vazquez, here to play a decent catcher and put up like maybe a 250 batting average and light power, catch a lot. He's caught everybody stealing, so that's cool. But
catchers don't hit, so
yeah, so like whatever. But Dahlbeck has just been a non-factor, and they're easy outs. He's not dragging out at bats. When he does hit the ball hard, it's right at a guy, and you gotta think that that's getting into his head at some point. And I wouldn't mind seeing him go down to AAA, like something they're doing with Darwin's and Hernandez on the bullpen area, things just to get his head right. Because he just seems like, you watch him play, he doesn't look like he's having fun. He doesn't look like he's enjoying being there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And, you bringing up Bobby Dahlbeck, we could go ahead and start with him. He's been terrible. So because of that, what do? They bring up Francie Cordero from AAA. He's been doing very well in Worcester this year. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he's performed way better than what people in Boston remember whenever he had time in the big leagues last year.
Yeah, I got his numbers. He was slashing 296, 378 on base percentage, 535 slugging percentage, 8 doubles, 3 home runs, 24 RBIs over 82 plate appearances. He was leading AAA in that.
24 ribbies in a month. That's more than any of the Red Sox have, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been down there absolutely balling. Makes sense to pull him up. I know he's been playing majority of the outfield in AAA, but he was playing a few games at first base. We all speculated it. It finally happened. He came up to replace Bobby D. In the 2 games that he's been up at the bigs, he has not struck out at all. which is a huge turning point for him from the last time we saw him in the major leagues. What do you guys think about Cordero? Should he be plugged in as the everyday first baseman?
I don't know about going that far yet, but he doesn't look completely lost, which he did last year when we did see him. And he's been getting good wood on the ball. He's hit the shit out of a few balls that have just been unlucky, been like victim of the dead ball, where it's like definitely would have been a home run last year or two, like on the warning track today. I mean, he drew a walk today, like he's seeing the ball, but I'm definitely not averse to giving him more of an extensive look. And as far as like Bobby, though, maybe we should have seen this coming because he was terrible at the beginning of last year, too. He might just be like a slow starter kind of guy. Like he just takes a bit to get worked up. And maybe with a shortened spring training, it makes it even worse. So, it's just a bit yikes. But yeah, I like what I've seen from Francie so far. Definitely better than last year.
Yeah, he looks a lot more comfortable and confident at the plate. The big thing at AAA for him was that he was drawing more walks. He's been more selective with his pitches. He hasn't played a ton of first base, but Dalbec's defense has been better, but not like Gold Glove. He's not like Mitch Moreland there or anything. I've liked what I've seen from him there, and I'd be comfortable with him starting against righties. And if you're going to keep Bobby up, start him against lefties and see if you can get the bat going a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree that is probably what will happen. As far as platooning of position, though, what I don't like about it is they're not in that everyday grind. They're not going to be out there getting all of those reps. The majority of pitchers are right-handed, so that means Francie would be in football terms, he would be your first base 1, and that would move Bobby to your first base 2, if that's how we're scoring it. And I don't know if a guy that's struggling like Bobby only getting limited at bats is going to be the best thing for him. He needs to be in a lineup getting more consistent at bats. And I think the place to do that is down in AAA.
I think that's definitely a valid way of looking at it. I think that there's another way that you can approach it also, which is that, and this is sort of how I'm starting to see it, is that I'm not sure Bobby is a full-time first baseman. I think that that doesn't mean he's not valuable. That doesn't mean that he's not the kind of guy that you plug in at third base, you plug in left field, you DH him to spell a guy, maybe you play him at second base. You give him the tougher lefty assignments and have him, give guys a day off here and there. But he ends up with maybe 300, 400 plate appearances. Guys like that are valuable. Every team needs to have a couple guys like that. But it seems like a guy that's been as inconsistent as him and has struggled especially against like the higher velocity type pitchers. I don't know if that's an everyday player.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that for sure. The biggest positive of Francie getting called up is that if he stinks too, we are one more step towards Tristan Cassis eventually showing up in a Red Sox uniform.
Oh, he's coming. He's coming at some point.
He is.
They just want to make sure that, because he, like last week, he had went, like when people were immediately saying, when they brought up Francie, they were like, well, why isn't it Cassis? Well, he went 0-for-8 in a doubleheader with 4 strikeouts. You don't want to bring the guy up when he's struggling. You want him to feel like he's figured things out.
You see, he hit another fucking mammoth one today.
Oh, God, he hits them so freaking far. And I mean, yes, they're Polar Park assisted, but still, like, his 477 home run would be like a 450-foot home run somewhere else.
And also, you don't want to bring up a guy and have that expectation of this is the guy that's going to right the ship. This is the guy that we're putting all the hope of the season on. You know, one of our co-hosts, Doink, was at the games at Camden, and she said, I'm here to see Francie turn the season around and all that. You know, she said it with a little bit of jest to it, but
tongue-in-cheek.
The tongue-in-cheek kind of statement. But we don't want that for a guy like Cassis, who is going to be a cornerstone infielder, the future of the team, really. That being said, with Cassis on the doorstep waiting to get in, hopefully we can sign Rafael Devers to a long-term extension, and he's going to be there for the foreseeable future. Where does that really leave Bobby D in the grand scheme of things? Is he going to be somebody kind of like a Michael Chavis that finds himself without a home?
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely like Bobby to me has always been like just the better Michael Chavis. And eventually you'll be able to use him probably as a trade chip to get better pitching or maybe an outfielder prospect. But I don't think he's in the long-term plans for this team, even though like people in the team love him like so much. They are big fans of him. Like, maybe they make him an outfielder kind of guy. Maybe they make him like a bench bat, like a utility. But I could see him like being moved within the next few years. He's still under contract or under team control for quite a while, so they don't need to make a decision anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm by no means writing off Bobby Dalbec. I think he's already a better player than Michael Chavis, although Chavis is doing all right for Pittsburgh right now. He's got an opportunity there. He's been playing against lefties. Seems like, for all intents and purposes, a good guy, so very happy for him there. But yeah, I mean, but they're different. They're different sorts of players. Bobby's defense was always a bit stronger, better arm, better third baseman, better first baseman, and the power was always like when Bobby hits the ball, I mean, he just knocks the shit out of it. He's one of these guys that's just putting up. I don't know what the numbers are, but his barrel bat, velocity off bat is it's off the charts. It's the kind of thing that if he can get his contact rate just a little bit better, he's going to hit. It's just a matter of, okay, how do we get him out of his head, and how do we get him to be in a position where he can do that and he can succeed. And I think that a more part-time role might be beneficial in that way. I think that he's also reaching an age where the reps are a little less. He's not like a 22-year-old that needs to be in lineup every day.
He needs to be in the batting cage with JD Martinez every day, just taking swings. That's all he needs to do, because that's JD's life, is analyzing pitches, analyzing his swing, coming up with all the little nuances to make it just a little bit better. Hopefully he can pass on some wisdom to young Bobby D. Brad is blowing up the chat right here, making sure that we mentioned that Shaw was DFA'd and that's the reason that Francie was called up. But I argue, was he really called up to replace Shaw? Yes, Shaw was the expendable name on the roster, but in the 3 games that Francie has been in the bigs, he's played 2 out of those 3 over Bobby D.
Travis Shaw sucks.
I mean, Francie's role he's going to get more playing time than Shaw did. Shaw was a veteran that you could kind of put in the spot and, kind of just let him sit on the bench. Francie's going to get more reps against right-handed pitchers. I think that's the big difference there. Yeah, I always was a fan of Travis Shaw. Seems like a wonderful man, but, the bat speed's been gone for a while now, and he's made a lot out of some very low expectations. He's, put up some 30 home run seasons, and, it's been if this is it for him, it's been a solid career.
I think one of the best things about Travis Shaw is he did get one of Jared Carrabis's best nicknames.
Oh yeah.
The Mayor of Ding Dong City is a classic nickname, and he definitely was the benefactor there.
I mean, he at the Red Sox game I went to last year against the White Sox, and I was at the game, Shaw was the one who fucking homered. I was screaming. Wow. I was screaming Mayor of Ding Dong City that day. It was funny. It was funny on the way out. I was singing Dirty Water on the way out to fucking irritate some of the White Sox fans near me.
People probably looked at you like you were crazy when you were screaming Mayor of Ding Dong City there.
Oh yeah.
They're like, what is this guy talking about? What is this sexy stud talking about over here? Mayor of Ding Dong City. I don't get this.
God. Side note, White Sox fans are so nice. Some of the nicest baseball fans I've ever met. They're so great.
Well, with all the bad things that Red Sox fans have experienced this year, to make matters worse, the New York Yankees have won 9 straight. They've just completed another sweep today. This team, they're on a roll. I guess kick us while we're down,
It really is like it's like literally like a book, like in a story, like the hero and the villain. When the hero is at his lowest point, is while the villain diametrically is at his highest point. So it only makes sense that eventually the hero will make his grand return and make a comeback.
Yeah, if the Red Sox lowest point is just their April kind of being shitty, I'd rather that be the case. It's like, yes, I understand that it's not fun to watch a team lose a lot of games, but I posted this yesterday on Twitter, and it's just like, the standings this time last year, Atlanta, who went on to win the World Series, were 2 games below 500. They were, a struggling team. There's now another playoff spot available. It's a long baseball season, and it's not fun for me. Maybe it's fun for you guys listening to this. It's not fun for me to watch a series and just think to myself, wow, how are they gonna lose today? I sure hate this thing that I'm investing all of this time in. It's just not particularly enjoyable for me to follow the team that way. So I'm going to be looking for the silver linings throughout all of this. And there are some. There really are, even though if it doesn't feel like it.
And I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do look at the silver linings, because honestly, watching this team perform the way that they are right now, it's kind of difficult to be like, I can't wait to go podcast about this. I can't
Yes.
wait to go talk to all of my friends about this team, because they're just so good right now, because they're not. It's hard to get on here and even try to spin it to where it's positive.
I don't think it has to be positive. I think that you can be objective without being like, just like everything sucks and let's fire Bloom and start from scratch and like that kind of thing. Like that's more that's. I just get annoyed when people are just like aggressively whiny about it. I guess that would be the term that I use, where they're just complaining about everything when there are specific things that are going wrong, and if those get fixed, maybe it'll go right, or maybe something else will go wrong. But it's not all. It's impossible for it to be all gloom and doom. It really is.
Yeah, you just don't want to go like full like Dan Shaughnessy or full Felger Maz kind of energy. Just don't do that.
Yeah. No, Maz is so much better on like the broadcast. He's been way less negative on that than I thought he would be.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
It was funny though, because yesterday in the broadcast, he's like, the Red Sox are undefeated while I'm calling their games, and then they immediately fucking lose. God damn it.
Okay, so here's a silver lining we got. You know what the wake-up call for the Red Sox last year was? Getting the shit kicked out of them by the Orioles.
True. Oh, it's true.
That's true. That's a good point there, Ed. Last year, of course, they were swept in the opening weekend of the series, and from then on, it kind of woke them up to the point where they ended up 17-10 in the first month. This year, kind of the opposite. We played them at the back end of the month, so we have a month full of crappy play to get to that point. But I guess, like you said, the Atlanta Braves last year started off with a losing record, also started off pretty poor again this year, for what it's worth. But the Red Sox, when is it too when do we get into the season where it's too late to say it's over? Like when at what point can we say like, okay, this year's done, they're not even going to make the 18th wild card spot?
Like even if like they're around like 500 at the All-Star break, this division is so insanely competitive that like it might not even be unattainable by then if you're like around 500. So like it's going to be a while before like I can be like this season is dead and this team fully stinks.
Yeah, traditionally my answer for that is Memorial Day, and that goes if they're like playing over 700 ball or they're playing under 400 ball. Like it's Memorial Day because teams are still getting warmed up. We had a shortened spring training, blah, 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 blah. Now with the additional wild card spots, I have no idea. Like the Cardinals like sneak into the playoffs after playing like ass for like 4 or 5 months last year. Like
did.
Yeah. So it was a brutal schedule for the Red Sox for April. Like it was not good. 17 straight games, most of which were on the road, against the Blue Jays, who are absolute monsters, against the Rays, who are always really difficult to beat. They got the shit kicked out of them early. They got the shit kicked out of them late last year, not even by the Astros. You remember right after the trade deadline?
Oh,
when
God,
everybody was mad that the Red Sox didn't trade for Rizzo because Schwarber was on the DL for 2 weeks, the IL for 2 weeks. Just Schwarber, by the way, just hit a home run off of Scherzer, so that's a mouthful of shit noises there.
Man, dude, the Red Sox like last year, like they made it to that ALCS that second half of the season, they played such a fucking mediocre, like pure 500 brand of baseball that was just so lame to watch. Like even to like the fact that with how well they played early in the year, that like it came down to the last few days on whether or not they would make the playoffs, like was insane.
We got a question coming in, guys. Of course, the Boston Red Sox have been walked off by every team in the American League East, but on this current road trip, they've been walked off by the Tampa Bay Rays with the Kevin Kiermaier home run after the Bobby D error, the George Springer home run in Toronto.
That wasn't a walk-off.
The Kiermaier?
Springer one. No, the Springer
one.
Springer, I think, just tied it up.
He did. He tied it up, then they walked it off shortly after that.
Yeah.
And then last night the walk-off bunt. Which of those was the most crushing defeat in your opinion?
Can I be honest with you? It was that it wasn't any of those for crushing defeats for me. It was the one that Bo Bichette hit that grand slam off of Tyler Danish with the bases loaded after the Sox had clawed their ways back into it. The Kiermaier one was like they got no hit through 9 innings. They didn't deserve to win that one.
Bo Bichette was a walk-off too.
Yeah, was the Bichette? No, Bichette wasn't a walk-off. He did that the inning before. It was like the bottom of the 8th inning.
And they broke it open, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was like 6-6 bottom of the 8th, and then I think he hit the grand slam there. I don't remember who got like the winning hit in the Springer game. I just had thought, because remember they were like, oh, well, why don't you bring in Barnes for that? And they let Diekman pitch to him, and he hammered him.
That's right. All the losses are blending together at this point.
I mean, they were all really frustrating, too, because they were just like close games that were lost because the offense couldn't really put up a ton of support for them. And yes, ultimately it was the bullpen got the losses for it, but that's also because you can't give an L to like Trevor Story making an error or, what was, like the team getting no hit through 9 innings. Or yesterday, they got one run with that performance that Eovaldi had, and they just couldn't get anybody to cross the plate. Like, you can't give L's to the offense, but they deserve it.
They most assuredly do. Go ahead.
Well, the most embarrassing loss is 100% the fucking error with Sawamura. Like, that's literally like Pittsburgh Pirates-esque kind of baseball. Like, glorified little league team. Genuinely, you stink. But as far as like when I'm watching a game and like what demoralized me more, that Springer home run hurt. that hurt my soul. Like, yeah. And in the long run, that will matter way more because the fucking Orioles aren't going to be anywhere near a playoff spot, and the Blue Jays obviously are going to be in contention for the division, let alone a wild card spot.
Yeah, I guess the silver lining of coming off of that Orioles series is that in game 1 of that series, the Red Sox were able to somehow survive it. And because of that, they're still half a game ahead of the Orioles for 4th place in the AL East right now. So silver lining podcast right here.
The sequel to Silver Lining Playbook we didn't know we needed.
And Ed, like you mentioned that the pitching has not been bad. It's been more than not bad. If you look at the stats in terms of total pitching before this game, the Red Sox ranked 9th in total pitching. I believe they were top 5 in team ERA. Like, this team's pitching has been more than good enough, and the offense has been non-existent. Like, just complete no-shows.
Yeah, there were guys who were having some really good seasons. Eovaldi, Waka, Hill looked really good in his last appearance. Strom's looked good out of the bullpen. Whitlock's been doing Whitlock things. Like, there is a team here. This is not the 2020 Red Sox. The offense needs to friggin' knock in some runs, though, with guys on base. The worst part of that, having guys on base and not getting them in means that they're hitting. They're just not hitting when they need to hit.
Oh, yeah. How many runners in scoring position have been left on just in this series alone? Like 42. It seems like every time I turn around, we've got runners on 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, but they're unable to drive that run in. It's absolutely terrible. Like Brad is mentioning in the comments here, 5 runs total scored against the Orioles. And the Orioles are not known for having lockdown pitchers. They're not known for being able to shut out lineups like that. So 5 runs in 3 games, not going to win a lot. And no matter how good your starting pitching is.
100%. And Brad here has provided us the tools for just how bad like the Red Sox offense has been through these numbers are from Fangraphs. Batting average, they're ranked 21st. On-base percentage as a team, 29th. 26th in OPS, 24th in runs, 25th in home runs, 24th in stolen bases. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing here, guys?
I can tell you, you're not winning a lot of games like that.
I could tell you the stat they're number one in, actually. Thank you, Red Sox radio broadcast and Will Fleming, is the Red Sox lead the league in sacrifice flies by a lot. They have 15 sacrifice flies, and the Yankees are in second with 9.
Take that, Yankees.
Yeah, got one over on you bums. You suck.
I mean, better than leaving more guys in scoring position.
That's the only area where they're being responsible, is at least sometimes they make productive outs.
I remember seeing Xander get like a base hit with a runner on third the other day and being like, holy shit, what was the last time that happened?
Right. And like to back up the pitching stats, Brad has put these as well. Team ERA, they're 9th. They're 14th in not width. I'm a fucking idiot.
Stop talking about yourself there,
yeah.
Hogdale. We prefer girth.
Right. Shut up. Oh my god. Like they're pretty bad with walks. Walks through 9, they're 22nd. Not a great strikeout team, only 18th. They're 9th in hits per 9, 25th in home runs per 9. Almost all of those are Nate Eovaldi's. That's like the one thing he's done bad this year he's weirdly allowed a lot of homers. And the bullpen, as a team, 11th in ERA, 13th in WHIP, 17th in walks, Ks per 9, they're 7th, hits per 9, they're 13th, home runs per 9, they're 17th. Like, it's good enough to win. And, like, this is not supposed to be the strength of the team. The strength of the team and the way this team is built has always been through the offense. Always been through that. If you aren't going to hit, you aren't going to win. It's that simple.
Yeah, I don't even think that it's necessarily a strength. It's more that it's not a weakness, and everyone told us it was going to be a weakness.
Yeah.
And everyone told us that's going to be a strength with the offense, but that's turned out to be the weakness. You mentioned, Ed, that Hill was fantastic in his last outing. Let's talk about that a little bit. You know, he was perfect through, I believe it was 4 innings. He was perfect, and then he finally gave up a hit, or maybe it was 5 innings or whatever. But he was pulled a little, like, you know, pulled and then put Houck in for relief, and Houck ended up with the win in that game 1. Do you think that they pulled the trigger a little bit too early on getting Hill out of the game? Should they have rode the old man a little bit longer?
You know, that's not an easy question, because if the result is that they won the game, so I would say, and Houck didn't get blown up. I don't think he gave up any runs, actually. I think the one run that got gave up, that was just the Mountcastle solo homer off Robles at the end, towards the end of it. And that Mountcastle can hit. The Orioles don't have a lot of good players, but that kid can rake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think if Houck had gotten blown up, it would have been the wrong choice. Maybe they could have gotten another inning out of Hill, but it worked, so who cares?
Hogdale?
Man, like, that's the thing, is like, we're trying to find the silver lining here, and the silver lining is I refuse to believe the offense is this bad. I refuse to believe it. There's too much talent here for them to be this consistently shit. They're gonna figure it out. And I don't think the pitching is going to regress, because the second like fatigue starts to hit in is the second that Sale and Paxton and Taylor will be injected into the rotations and the bullpen. Like, they just need to start hitting. I'm begging them to please start hitting. Live up to your potential.
Yeah, I'd like to add in that in the middle of a losing streak, one of the worst things that can happen is not having any days off. And they played like 17 straight games in this, and again, most of them on the road. So I think that, and maybe I'll eat my words on Tuesday and they'll get lit up. But I think that will be at least on the offensive end of things, we'll be seeing better at bats. I mean, we can't really be seeing.
I think Story's about to break out.
He's looked a lot better. He drew like 3 walks today. I think.
He drew 3 walks today, which is a telltale sign he's seeing the ball really well. And are they heading back to Fenway, or are they still on the road?
They're going to be back to Fenway, and he's got a swing that is going to work.
That's what I say. He's
so
book him for his first home run this series. I'm calling it now.
All right. All right, good call. We'll put that up if it happens. That Hogdale was the one that manifested that one. Going back to Hill, he did go 4 innings in that game 1. I'm going to go ahead and say that I wish he could have stayed in a little bit longer. Houck came in and did 3 innings, but the reason that I say that he should have stayed in a little bit longer, he was dealing. He only gave up 1 hit in that time that he was out there. If he could have went 5, that could have saved either one of these 3, Diekman, Robles, or Strom, so that they would then been available the next day whenever the whole disaster happened with Sawamura. Not having any of those 3 available in that game really did hurt the bullpen in game 2. I know you can't manage for the next day. You've got to try to win each day as they come. But I think Hill pitching the way that he was the right answer to leave him in there just a little bit longer. At the time, I believe the Red Sox had a 3-0 advantage. They did. So he had a bit of a cushion. I would have rode the old man just a little bit longer. I guess maybe they didn't want to risk him getting, multiple runners on base or give a little bit of runs to the Orioles and then try to bring in Houck to clean up the mess or whatever. But
shut up, Brad.
Oh Brad.
My God.
There's a reason that I don't use that nickname whenever I'm talking about riding him longer because, I'm not going to be a soundbite.
No, not ready for that. Man.
I think that's fair, though, Brandon. I think that they probably could have ridden him out a little bit longer, but it's not something that I'm going to be too upset about. If you're also if what you're wanting is help to throw multiple innings, then I think that it's okay to kind of leave the extra ones. But yeah, they probably could have gotten a 5th inning out of him there.
I mean, bring him back for the 5th. If he gets into trouble, that's when you could bring in somebody like Robles to get that, a third of an inning, 2/3 of an inning, and then bring Houck out for a clean inning in the 6th. Let him go 3 and finish out the game.
Yeah, 100%. Can I just say that it's really weird to me that people are so desperate to rip Garrett Whitlock out of the starting position, even though he's had literally 2 starts. And in the second start where he was quote unquote bad, he didn't even give up a run.
It was an unearned run. That was because he was getting no defensive support.
And they pulled him. It's not even like they gave him a full run start as a starter. They pulled him to 68 pitches. Are we serious? If he had 90 pitches, he could have maybe even gotten midway through the 4th or into the 5th.
Yeah, he's still stretching out.
And to me, I think one of the dumbest arguments out there is that the people that are saying, well, if Whitlock was in the bullpen, that game 2 loss wouldn't have happened. Well, Matt Barnes gave up the run to make it a 1-1 ball game. You're not going to put a closer into a tie ball game. A closer typically is going to come in only when your team has the lead. So he wouldn't have been in the ball game at that situation anyway. Unless they were just using him to try to hold for extended innings like Nate did in the World Series a couple years ago when he had to go 6 innings and extras or something like that. Yeah. But you're not going to burn up a guy in April like that. It makes no sense.
Also, the problem is they scored 1 run. That's the problem.
It
wasn't
problem.
The bullpen. They scored 1 run. Come on.
Yeah, I have something to say about the Barnes' appearance there, which he's in process of transforming his pitching style because you can see he's going to the fastball a lot less because he does not have the velocity he used to. I think he maxed out at 95. He's going that knuckle curve just a lot more, and it makes it so he can spot the fastball a little bit better. But he's still not that used to it. He's still more of a thrower than a pitcher, and he has to become a pitcher rather than a thrower. I don't know if he's ever going to be closer for the team again, but I was honestly a little encouraged by what we saw the other day, just because it was a different look he was giving, I guess. And again, I think that there's a usable setup guy in there. I don't know if he's going to be even a top 4 option in this bullpen, but if they gave him that extension, so if they can get anything out of him at this point, after he's dropped his velocity by 3 miles an hour, that's a win. So I at least was happy to see he was trying something different.
Silver lining guy right there, because when he started talking about it, the first words that popped in my head was, he sucks.
Dude, his fastball is just so bad now. It's just so mediocre. And that was like his whole thing. When he was electric as a closer, he had utmost confidence in that fastball. He was throwing at 95, 96.
He would
And
throw
just
it down the
played
middle
there.
of the plate and people couldn't hit it.
Yeah, because
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
you think this is a curveball. It's just a fastball, idiot.
I would love a game of just Hogdale commentary where like it's you thought that was going to be a fastball, you fucking dumbass.
Yeah, you absolute fucking goon. I just threw a fastball. You thought it was a curveball.
Can you believe this guy?
You bum.
But I mean, it was an inning also where if Verdugo doesn't try to dive for that ball, then it's probably a single. He doesn't give up the run on that like ground ball, and it happens. They should have had more than one run there. It was a loss, but I don't know. Like Barnes, I'm not quite on the Ryan Brady haterade experience just yet with him.
Yeah, not the his Barnes committed a personal atrocity to me and my entire clan. Therefore, I despise this man.
I just love the Ryan Brady viewing. Like, I would love to have one game where I just go in like that. Like, I just like am like, okay, well, this is a personal thing, so I dislike them. Like I think it would be good to experience that every now and then. I don't know these guys. I can't have a personal hatred for them.
No,
Fair. I'm not on the Matt Barnes fan club. I'll go ahead and say that I've never really been that high on Matt Barnes. He was good for the first half of last year, and every single outing it surprised me. For several years now, when he comes into the game, I get nervous because I've seen him blow so many games, and now it's just the fruition of all of that pent up like nervousness and anxiousness. And it's like, this dude, he's terrible. Whenever he's coming in the 6th and 7th innings of a game, it's like, yep, you're not the closer anymore. Like you said, Ed, I don't think he'll ever be back in that position again, especially whenever other guys have looked much more better suited to be in that position. Guys like Robles, Strom even has looked really good.
Well, let me ask you, if you had to pick out, you can't pick Whitlock for the role or Houck because they're we're just going to pretend that they're in the rotation.
Sure.
Of the relievers that aren't also starters, who would you pick to be your closer if you had to pick one?
Hansel Robles.
Robles, but Strom's a close second.
I want Strom as my 8th inning guy.
Yeah. I think Strom and Waka, I think, have been the two best free agency signings. I've really liked Strom.
Wonderful.
He's been insane. Oh my, I've loved Waka so far. He's not going to continue to be this good, but I can definitely see him being like a 3.5 ERA kind of guy.
Yeah,
like
people were so butthurt when he got $7 million. That feels like if he can keep up anything even resembling this, that's a steal.
So cheap. Yeah.
They always hate on an Iowa boy getting paid. Hate to see it.
Well, it's because he's had some down seasons and he's not been the pitcher that he was back in 13, 14, and 15 for the Cardinals. But then all of a sudden he's looking pretty good in the first part of this season, and that's looking like $7 million very well spent if he can keep even a little bit of what he's been doing going on.
If the Rays think a pitcher is good, there's talent there. Like there's something to work with.
I do believe that too. Yeah.
Like, I don't know why teams just don't immediately take off any Rays cast off, or like, some guy they refuse to pay because like, okay, this guy's actually good. We need to go get him.
That's a good point. Good point. How's Charlie Morton doing this season, by the way?
That's a good question. He's been really good for the Braves ever since he's been there.
He's a guy that pitched in Tampa for a couple seasons, and then he was great in Atlanta last year. Don't think he's doing so well this year. He's got
currently has a
7 ERA.
7 ERA.
Wow.
I heard that he got blown up a couple of times, but haven't really
fine.
Man, the Braves are looking pretty bad this year too. Just to and the Cardinals, they've not been looking that great. So it's not just the Red Sox. It's not just the Red Sox. It's still early. Yeah, it's not Memorial Day yet. They still got a few more.
The
weeks
Braves
for
are another
that,
team.
blah,
They
blah,
just they still have an insane amount of talent. They'll get it together.
We just got Acuna back too, so oof.
Acuna. to reference that video.
Hopefully we can get back on track. We did have a question that came in that I think is worth a few minutes discussion on this here podcast, because that's what we do. We discuss the hard hitting questions. With this most recent loss to the Baltimore Orioles, is it time for Alex Cora to shave off the beard?
I mean, I think he has no choice. Like, according to superstition, like the Red Sox are good when he does not have a beard, and they're bad when he does have it. That's my caveman brain activating.
He didn't have a beard in 2019, so.
He also had a lot on his plate in 2019 that wasn't really Red Sox baseball related. But
I like how he looks with the beard. I think he looks like he looks like my grandfather. So I'm pro beard, but if it helps them win, cool, do it.
Looks like Father Christmas with the tan.
I think we all are pro beard on this podcast, but I mean, if it's for the good of the team, let's get him a subscription to that Dollar Shave Club or something, and see if we can send that to Fenway Park.
Oh my God! Right,
care of Alex Cora.
Oh my God, that'd be so fucking funny if like there were like unmarked packages being left at Alex Cora's like office.
Just shave for the good of the team.
There's no note or anything. There's just like a singular razor. And it keeps getting sent to him. It's just subliminal messaging.
Imagine if he did shave, and then all of a sudden the Sox go on like this crazy hot streak to where right now they're 8.5 games out of first place. By Memorial Day, let's say they're like 2 games out of first place because he shaved his beard.
If that happens, I think that somebody's going to sneak into his house with one of those like laser remove all the hair from you forever things.
Oh yeah,
and just give him one of those.
But what if it's the act of shaving that he actually has to do that ritual every day? That's what, like, you know how baseball players they are. They write the same thing in the dirt at every at bat. He has to shave the exact same way every single day to keep that streak going.
Oh man, if that's the case, I hope he invests in some security so no one can do that to him.
Yeah, right. Invest.
Yeah. So there you have it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Should Alex Cora shave his beard for the benefit of the Boston Red Sox season? Yes or no? We can put up a poll on Twitter and get everyone's reactions to that as well. Brad, if you want to take care of that for us while we're here, go ahead and post that poll up. We'll get it. Brad is currently purchasing the Dollar Shave Club thing for Alex Cora, and he's going to have it delivered to Fenway Park. That is amazing. That's how we do things around here. We don't just sit and wait on an idea. When it comes, we act on it. And you know what? This is for the benefit of Red Sox fans everywhere. And I love the beard, but it's got to go, AC.
You just got to send it in that like that kidnapper font. Like where like it's like they get up like the clippings. It just says to Alex and like the different letters and shit.
Oh man, that is what really needs to happen. But I'm sure if he's ordering it, it's just going to come standard. But it does need to come with the clipped out letters from the newspaper. The ransom note style.
Or just send it with like a really shitty like Polaroid picture of Alex Cora without a beard. Just like send it to him. That'd be amazing.
So, Ed, let's go ahead and shift gears and talk about the team down in Worcester, the Woo Sox, and some of the other teams down on the farm, and see who our stars are for the week.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely, yeah. You know who's gotten kind of hot recently? Jeter Downs. Remember him?
Ooh,
Jeter Downs.
Trade.
Famous name, yeah.
Yeah, he's now homered in back-to-back games. He's up to 5 home runs for the season. They're batting him third. The batting average hasn't come up a ton yet, but it's not like totally like I don't know how much you guys saw him in spring training, but he looked sad and lost, and it was a little concerning. It looked like he made an adjustment to his swing towards the end of it and got off to a little bit of a slow start, but now he's slashing 241 average, 344 on base percentage, .482 slugging percentage. That's 3 doubles, 1 triple, 5 home runs now in 96 plate appearances. So for an infielder, that's not bad. 5 home runs in under 100 plate appearances. And, his defense looks a lot better. I think he's made 2 errors on the season, and he's playing just about every game. 21 games now for him. So he's been hot. That's one that I'm happy about too, because I'm tired of people talking about how like the Betts trade and how they didn't get anything for him.
Yeah.
So
that
that's
is
one.
good that Jeter Downs. Yeah, that's good news about him. He's been one of those guys that's been almost relegated as a career minor leaguer. So it's good that he's developing and coming along. I don't know if there's a place for him on the big league roster anytime soon, but the better he does, the more valuable he has as a potential trade chip, or as maybe some guy that they can move to the outfield and potentially become an outfielder, a la how Mookie Betts was. Mookie Betts came up as the second baseman. He eventually turned into a Gold Glove right fielder. It's pretty good. I don't know if you're keeping tabs on that kind of thing. Also an MVP type player. So question about Jeter Downs though. Can he pitch?
No. No,
So,
he can't
okay.
pitch. You know who can pitch though?
Who can pitch?
Brandon Walter.
Ooh.
Now, Brandon Walter is a pitcher with the Double-A Sea Dogs right now, and I'm just going to read to you some of his numbers for the first month because it's a little eye-popping. Now, he's a little older. He's, I think, 25 right now, and he's at Double-A, but over 23 innings, that's 4 starts, he has an ERA of 1.17 in 23 innings. He's allowed 3 runs. He struck out 29 batters, and he has not walked a single batter.
Ow.
Damn.
His
Bring him up.
He has a strikeout to walk ratio of 29-0.
Bring him up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You said he's at Double-A Portland right now. Oh,
Yep.
wow. Let's reach out to him and see if we can get him on the show.
He's a guy who I think if I were to bet on any pitcher in the minor league system now getting to pitch in the majors at some point, it would probably be him, just because I think that he's already gotten his Tommy John surgery out of the way, and he has 3 pitches that, Double-A, they sure are working. That slider, when we did our interview with Colt Cottom, he said the slider was like the best pitch he's seen of anybody in the system that he's gotten a catch for. So, that's them are fighting words considering he got to catch Eovaldi in spring training. Now that's an unwarmed up Eovaldi, but still.
So what I'm hearing is bring this guy up, fire Cutter Crawford into the sun, and this guy actually be able to pitch in Blue Jay games. So this is huge.
I want, it's 1 month, but he was also really good last year. In Salem, he had an ERA of 1.45, over 31 innings. So that's the lowest level of A. And then he went to Greenville and did reasonably well. But yeah, he's somebody definitely to keep an eye on. There's actually another pitcher in Double-A that's also on the 40-man roster that I think is worth keeping an eye on, and that's Bellow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've discussed him before, but he's definitely somebody to keep your eyes on in the farm system, in the organization. He's going to turn some heads for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Now, what do you want for our third guy? Do you want a pitcher or a hitter?
Dealer's choice.
Yeah.
You know who I want to talk about? I want to talk about Alex Benellis because I don't know if we've talked about him yet.
This is another guy that was a Heim acquisition as part of a pretty notable trade that a lot of people were down on whenever it happened, right?
Yeah, people are not happy about Hunter Renfroe being traded for Jackie Bradley Jr., but maybe they're right for this season, but for the rest of the decade, if Benellis and Hamilton do anything close to what they've been doing in the minors right now, Sox win that trade. Benellis is slash line 269, 398, 627 for his slugging percentage. He has 3 doubles and 7 home runs over 83 plate appearances. So, and this isn't last year. He hit 9 home runs over 159 plate appearances. So his power is actually he's hitting more home runs at a higher level.
Growing into his power. Love that shit.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I like Benellis. They don't quite have a position for him yet. They're not sure if he's going to be a first baseman or a third baseman or an outfielder, but if he hits, it's not going to matter.
Well, hopefully for long-term projections that it will be an outfield position, because it looks like the big league club have the third baseman and the first baseman all locked up. If they can sign Rafi to an extension, but you don't want to bring up a guy in the minors who is blocked behind somebody that you've got long-term. So hopefully they transition him to be an outfielder so that, he can have a room to come.
Yeah, the versatility is always a good thing to have. I'd also like to just add Brian Van Bell, who friend of the show, picked up his first win of the season today. Went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs, struck out 7. So good. Happy to see the win there for him. And Nick Sogard has started off at Worcester, going 5 for 15. So he's batting .333 in his first exposure to AAA there. So another friend of the show.
Good deal.
Awesome.
Yeah, happy that Nick got called up. Good for him.
Yeah, and he's getting playing time too. So that's been cool to see. He's been getting a lot of time at third base.
Man, the more I think about the Sox system, like, moving on from this a bit, is I get more and more worried that they're probably going to let Xander walk.
Yeah.
I really think it's going to happen, because like, I know the Red Sox believe so heavily in like their top end prospects. Like, Nick York is probably going to eventually be the second baseman, and he's going to rake so hard, dude. He's such a stud, and they really believe in him. Like, obviously, like, Castles will come up. They're probably going to move Story to short. And like, even eventually after that, Meyer will come up. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we all hate it, because Xander's been in the organization since he was 16 years old. This is the only baseball organization he's ever known. He's been a part of 3 World Series championships teams. Is it 3 that he's been a part of, or just 2? 13 and 18.
Yeah, 13, 18, 2.
So 2. Yeah. He wasn't there in 07. He was probably like 12 years old then. So 13 and 18. So 2 World Series championship teams. He's been a big part of that. He's been arguably the captain of the team for a couple seasons now. And unfortunately, he's a Boris guy, and he's going to want a lot of money to stay.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize like how good, like, in historic, like, Nick York was last year. Like, in his first season as like a 19-year-old, he was putting up numbers that like only have been put up by like Bryce Harper, like Juan Soto, like these dudes who just absolutely ripped apart like that level of baseball. Like, that's how good he was. Like, he's got an insane hit tool. He's going to be really, really good.
Went 3 for 5 today.
Yeah. Dude's a machine.
Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add before we hop off here?
The Sox stink. I love them.
Sox do stink.
He's playing like ass right now, but I enjoy spending an hour on my Sunday with you guys. I'm happy that there's baseball. I'm going to be going to more Woo Sox games now that my the class that I was taking is over, so I'll actually have time to. So excited about that. Of course, they're immediately going on the road, so it's going to be like 2 weeks, but looking forward to it.
Yep, that's the way it usually works in minor leagues. You don't get those 3-game series. You get 6-game series where they're gone for an entire week at a time. That's smart, because you don't have to travel around as much. You go to one place and you stay there for a week and then you move on. But it does suck when you're a fan of the team and you're just waiting on them to come back to your area to see them. That's all I've got for the day too, guys. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this has been the highlight of the 2022 Red Sox season, not only for me, but for all of our Red Sox fans as well. Brad, welcome to the show. You're about an hour late.
And he's gone.
And he's gone.
And he's back.
Hey.
Oh, boys. Good show.
Yeah. Thanks.
Doing the Lord's work, Brad.
Yeah, good job, Brad. Fucking asshole.
All right. And that was Brad with his additional commentary at the end of this episode. So we appreciate him for stopping by, and we appreciate all of you for joining. joining us and participating in the live chat and throwing in your questions for us. So we'll see you back here next time, next Sunday. And the other show with Brad will be back sometime midweek whenever the Sox wrap up the series. And we'll talk to you guys then. We are out of here.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pesky Report. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our